your team. Thank you for taking the time out and being here today. CCS Learning Academy is the professional training division of the CCS Global Tech, a 28 years old full service IT consulting firm. We help business to build their teams with skill tech professionals depending on their project needs. We also help them by upskilling, reskilling their workforce on the latest technology trends, professional developments, and leadership training. We offer a wide range of innovative technology solutions, training, and career placements. My name is Rajbir Singh, manager at CCS Learning Academy, and I have been in technology and professional training sector for over a decade. I work with students, organizations, and leaders for their professional developments. We will be running a live Q&A at the end of the webinar. So we have enabled our Ask a Question feature. It is on the bottom of your screen. If you have any question, just put them in there. Today, we have well-respected subject matter expert, trainer, and a speaker who is Microsoft SQL Server business intelligence expert with more than 13 plus years of experience. He is also specialized in TSQL programming, end-to-end business intelligence framework, data virtualization, Azure migration, and Snowflakes. So please welcome Swapnil Shah. I will hand over to Swapnil. Swapnil, you can take it up from here.
Thanks, Rajbir. Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon wherever the location you are located. So, my name is Swapnil Shah. As Rajbir was introducing me, I'm going to be the presenter for today's session. A little bit about my background. Well, I have more than 13 years of extensive experience working in database industry, specializing in T-SQL programming, entire full BI stack, data visualizations, Azure cloud computing, Azure migrations, as well as Snowflake data warehousing. I'm currently working as a delivery head for US operations on various different data projects. I hold different certifications, MCSE, MCSA, MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer. So being that said, let's start for today's webinar. So this is the overall agenda for today's discussion. We're going to be starting off with some of the major challenges which is faced by data intensive companies. There are a lot of big companies out in the market where data is being generated at a very passive, at very active rate. And we need to first address those challenges. What are the premier challenges that this company faces? We're going to be diving a little deep into different types of data visualization tools. We have managed and self-service data visualization tools. What are the differences between both, and which type of tool is good for what use case scenario companies? We're going to be discussing as well about what is Tableau, where does Tableau fit in, what are the different product lines of Tableau, how does a Tableau work in context to multi-layer architecture, and some of the striking features of Tableau. Why is Tableau one of the most sorted data visualization tool currently out in the market? What it is capable of, what it is not capable of, and a quick demo at the end to discuss on some of the practical application and capabilities of Tableau. And we're going to be creating a small little report, and I'm gonna give a demo of how to publish it onto the Tableau public site, just to kind of get a good practical feel of how Tableau works in a real-time environment. All right, so being that said, let's run through some of the challenges faced by data intensive companies. So as you guys know, there is no organization that can function without data these days. With huge amount of data being generated every second from business transactions, you name it, like sales figure, customer logs, you may have data coming in from stakeholders. This data is critically important, that drives the growth of the company. The challenge is all this data gets piled up in huge data set. There is tremendous amount of data, you could think of in terabytes, in petabytes. This data is being generated through mobile devices, through web applications, through telemetric, sources, and that data gets piled up, and we call it to be as big data. So this big data come with its own challenges, right? This data needs to be analyzed on a periodical basis. I need to, drive the business insights out of it. and ultimately that business insights is going to help me to make appropriate business decision that is going to propel my company. But there are a lot of challenges, such as, like, we don't know how the quality of the data is. We need to check on the data quality. There could be lack of storage of data, lack of storage. There could be lack of data science professional. Validating data could be a challenge, and storing that data, massive amount of data itself, might be a huge challenge for the companies. So in order for us to sort it out, the amount of data being generated in data centers and databases of the companies is rapidly increasing day by day. And as this data grows exponentially with time, it really gets very difficult to handle this data. Most of the data on the top of that is very unstructured, as it comes from documents, it comes from videos, you may have some audios, text files, and other sources of data, meaning that this data is coming from different heterogeneous sources located in different geographical locations, and you cannot find them in one database. So that also is one of the major challenge. So it is very important for us to first segregate that data, to integrate that data, segregate and integrate data into centralized location, and then use that data for decision making purposes. So we have various different applications, like financial reports. We have also the data might come from emails, presentations, and combining this data to prepare a enterprise level report is a challenging task, and this is generally neglected by the firms that gonna add up to a lot of data silos. So data integration is one of the most important aspect of arranging the data before you actually analyze that data. On the top of that, you may also have anomalous or inconsistent data. We also call it to be as dirty data. Is going to be one of the major challenge in creating accurate data visualizations for decision making purposes. So organization needs to, they have to use complex data cleansing algorithms to clean this dirty data before it can be used for any kind of visuals, and that comes often with heavy cost. On the top of that, selecting appropriate data visualization tool also plays a very important role. There are various different tools out in the market. You name it, like SSRS, it could be Power BI, Tableau, business objects. There are plenty of tools out in the market. Every tool has its own limitations. It has its own functionality. So picking the right tool in context to the amount and the type of data you have and your business requirements is also critically important. Otherwise, you may lose out on the business insights. Moreover, the turnaround time of the report is also critically important. When a business user or a consumer is asking for a report, it is critically important for the data engineering team or the analytics team to build that report and deliver that report in time. If it's delayed for any reason, because of the wrong tool which has been picked up, or because of some problems in the internal data, data storage, it could again defeat the whole purpose of report generation. So there are many challenges, as you see a big company or a big data intensive company has in context to visualization, and it needs a proper planning. It needs data engineering team, data analyst team, to work it out on the data before the reporting team can take over with that data and create business interactive reports. So jumping on further, let's discuss on what is managed and self-service data visualization tool. So all the data, all the reporting tools currently out in the market can be classified into two categories. Either it could be managed or self-service. So let's first talk about what is managed here. So the managed category of data visualization tool you could think of is a conventional or traditional reporting tool, which is primarily syntax based. It has much higher technical overhead, meaning that if you are using a managed visualization tool and if you are supposed to create a report, you have to be technical. You must know the tool in and out, and you should be a technical person. So such kind of tools are not easy to use by the business people, because business people are usually non-technical. So if they are supposed to create their own reports in the managed tool, it will be very difficult for them, because they don't know the technicalities that are there behind the creation of that report. So the managed reporting tool also has limited functionalities in terms of the choices of data visuals. So business data cannot be plotted into any visual as you want. You can only use predefined available visuals, and it cannot be further customized, which is one of the limitation of managed visualization tool. And also, the main thing about the managed tool is the turnaround time could be longer. Since you cannot create your own reports, you have to be dependent on somebody else to deliver your own report, and it usually takes a longer turnaround time for creating the entire report, and it adds up a lot to the entire reporting life cycle. So on the other hand, we have another category called self-service. Now, as the name says, self-service, this is semantic based. You don't have to be dependent on somebody else for creating your own report. You can actually log on. You can play around with the data. It's all drag and drop based, like Power BI, Tableau. Tableau is one of the classic example of self-service data visualization tool. So these tools are drag and drop reporting tools that literally needs a least amount of technical overhead and can be easily used by any business people. Even if you are a non-technical person or if you are a semi-technical person, you can very well work on self-service visualization tool and you can create your own reports. Hence it is called self-service. You are actually serving your own request, and they have literally unlimited data visualization capabilities. You have the list of options that you can pick and choose from. There are hundreds and hundreds of different visuals. You can customize those visual as per se you want, in context to the look and feel. You can play around with different data sets, predefined, pre-provisioned data sets. You can also import the visuals from the marketplace. So it's pretty good. It's the modern way of reporting. As said, Tableau falls under self-service data visualization tool. And for companies where you need to make quick business decisions, self-service is the way to go, because the business users can directly log on and they can create their own reports on the fly. This is called ad hoc reporting needs. So in a very common scenario, the business users can build their own dashboards without being dependent on any technical team. So the most common analogy that I would like to give you is a restaurant analogy. Let's say per se example, imagine that if you're hungry, if you want to go to a restaurant, you could think of that there are majorly two different types of restaurant. Imagine that you go to a restaurant where you go in and you have to wait for somebody to help you to sit on a table, right? So you're waiting there for a couple of minutes. Somebody comes up and then he or she is gonna guide you and you're gonna be sitting on the table. Now, obviously, you're hungry, so you're gonna order the food. You're gonna look at the menu and you're gonna place an order. The helper is gonna take your order, and that order goes in the kitchen. So the cook in the kitchen is going to now start working on your order, and you are a customer, right? And that food is your report. Think of it likewise. So what's happening here is you are actually waiting for your food. You cannot go in the kitchen by yourself and start cooking your food because you are non-technical. You are business people. You are a consumer of that report. So technically speaking, you are actually waiting for your food, and somebody else is creating your food, and that somebody else is a cook in the kitchen, right? So if it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you are literally sitting on the table waiting for your food, right? You are a business person. You may not have that much of time, right? So that is more or less like managed data visualization tool, where you are a non-technical. If you are non-technical, you have to be dependent on somebody else, for delivering your own report. Versus self-service is more or less like entering a restaurant where you have a buffet. In that situation, you're not waiting on anyone. You just walk in, you take your own plate, you take whatever the food you want, as much as you want. You're trying to serve your own request. All the food is laid out on the table. It's pre-cooked, it's pre-provisioned. All that you do is just take the food and you basically start consuming the food. That's exactly what happens when it comes to self-service data visualization tool. You are serving your own request. All the data sources are ready. You just drag and drop, you as per se you want, as how you want, in context to whatever the data you want. You can customize that visual, and you can create your own visual and make business decisions out of it. So that is what essentially is managed and self-service. So where does Tableau fit in now? As said, Tableau is a self-service data visualization tool, and Tableau is, you could really think of it's one of the best business intelligence and data visualization tool currently out in the market, and it has managed to be on the top of the charts for quite a few time now since its launch. It's pretty old tool. It was the first version of Tableau was launched somewhere in 2008, so it's about 15-16 years old. And the most important quality of this tool is that it makes the data organizing, managing, and visualizing very simple. It's very user friendly. The UI is classic. It's pretty simple, straightforward for a non-technical person to use, and it can really transform the complex data, huge amount of data, in simple pieces where the user can plot it onto the visual and consume that data, and makes it very easy for the users. So as you know, data can be very complicated. It can be mysterious. It can be dirty, um, and we need proper tools for extraction. And Tableau can well connect to multiple different data sources. I think it can support more than 50 to 55 different data sources, and it can connect it on-prem or cloud. You can pull that data where at different connectivity options. You can connect it on live or extract connection mode depending upon your requirement, and you can create crisp and stunning visuals in no time. So it also provides functionality for data prep. We're going to talk a little more as we move forward. It's a functionality where tableau can I'm sorry yeah Tableau can actually help you to clean the data at the data source before you can use that data for visualization. So you can create a workflow in the Tableau desktop itself, which can help you to perform data shaping or data cleansing before you can consume that data for the reporting purposes. And it's very easy to use, as said, and you can create crisp and stunning dashboards within minutes, literally within minutes. Obviously you can also create complex dashboard depending upon your requirements by adding a lot of other functionalities. But simple basic reports, worksheets, or dashboards can be literally created within minutes, and you can, with the click of a button, publish that visual onto Tableau server or Tableau online, wherever your reporting repository is, and you can pass it on to your customers. Customers can log on to that Tableau server or Tableau online, and they can consume that reports through web application using HTTP endpoints, or it could be also in mobile devices, wherever you like, depending upon the business requirement. So, bottom line, Tableau is one of the most, one of the best visualization tool currently out in the market. Obviously, there are many competitors to it. Power BI is one of the biggest competitor for Tableau. There are a few other semantic-based visualization tools, but Tableau has its own unique features and functionalities that stand out in context to other visualization tools. So moving forward, let's quickly run through the Tableau product lines. What does Tableau offers? What are the different products of Tableau, and which product should be used for what kind of scenarios? So the most commonly used and the most fundamental product of Tableau is Tableau Desktop. So Tableau Desktop is a standalone. It's a desktop installable. It's a standalone application. It's a piece of software. It's a software package you could think of, which is essentially used to connect to multiple different data sources. As said, Tableau supports more than 50 to 55 different data sources, let it be on-prem or on cloud. You can literally connect to whatever the known structured or unstructured data sources you have. Let it be relational databases, flat file Excel files, XML files, JSON files, Sparky files. It could be on-prem, as I said, on cloud. It could be hosted somewhere or into the virtual machine. You have various different connectors. And the idea is Tableau Desktop then gets that data from the appropriate data sources, could be multiple data sources at the same time, and you can actually use that data to create, to author, to alter, modify, view, and publish your worksheets. Now reports are called worksheets in Tableau. Can also be used to create business interactive, executive dashboards, and user stories. It has a lot of advanced features and functionalities. You can perform data blending. You can do cross database joins. You can literally play around with that data the way you want to. Pick and choose what are the visuals that you want to, and customize your visuals as per say the business requirements very easily with just click of buttons. As said, so that is Tableau Desktop. It is used for data exploration purposes. um, it also has some basic data shaping rules which can be used for cleaning the data at the source level before you use that data for the reporting purposes. It can be used for managing the metadata. It can be used for changing the data types at a semantic level without affecting the data source. Um, and one of the primary advantage of using Tableau Desktop is you can actually build a report which can create reference lines, and it can actually create forecast models, right? So if you have last 2 2, 3, 4 years of historical data, there is a feature in Tableau Desktop where you can actually forecast what is going to happen in the next 6 months. So if you're running a retail company, okay, this is what it is, this is what the sales I have done for last 6, 7 years. You can actually, based on that data, based on the AI models, the latest version of Tableau is also incorporated with different AI capabilities, which can give you pretty close to accurate forecasts of what might happen up to next 6 months, right? Can create trend lines. And as said, you can use Tableau Desktop to connect live to a whatever data source. Extract is always an option, but you can connect it live in the sense that as the changes are happening in the data source, your visuals can be refreshed automatically, right? So if there are some new data which is being inserted, or if the delete is happening, update is happening, you can refresh your visuals in near real time with the help of live connection. Obviously, there are certain steps that we have to take before we incorporate those things, but Tableau is very capable of doing kind of real-time stream analytics. And we have an option in Tableau to improve the performance. We can store the data into either a TD file, stands for Tableau Data Extract, or Hyper file. So you can actually create an extract of the source data. Instead of connecting live, you can take a copy of the source data, put it into an intermediate file. That file could be either Hyper file, high performance compressed file, or it could be Tableau Data Extract file, which can now be used for creating your visuals to improve the performance of your rendering when the customer is trying to access that visual. So if you're a Tableau developer, if you're working as a Tableau developer in any of the organization, more than 90-95% of your time will be on Tableau Desktop, because Tableau Desktop is an IDE, integrated development environment, that is going to help you to build the reports from scratch, to alter or modify the existing reports. But it's pretty much more of a developer's playground. Now, once you are done creating and developing the report or a dashboard or a worksheet or a dashboard, the next step is to be able to publish that report. And for you to be able to publish, you need to have a centralized repository where you're going to be, where that repository is going to hold that report, is going to store that report, is going to manage, maintain, should be able to secure that report. You need to be able to apply appropriate security on that report, like who can access what report, which component of that report should be accessed to whom. So you can apply role-based access control, you can apply row-level security. There are very different security options that you can enforce. You can subscribe that reports to your customer. You can as well administer that report. You can refresh your extracts. For that purposes, we need something called Tableau Server. So essentially speaking, as said, after you are done creating a report in Tableau Desktop, you're going to be publishing that report or a dashboard onto Tableau Server, which can do all management, maintenance, scheduling, refreshing activities. And eventually your customers would be able to connect to Tableau Server. You're going to be sharing, because all the customers or the consumers of that report will be given an access to Tableau Server. So they can log on to the Tableau Server and they can consume their own report based on the security patterns, based on the security protocols. Right? You can also access your Tableau Server through web app. You can access Tableau Server on a mobile device, anywhere. Your customers can consume that report literally anywhere on any device. It could be embedded in a front-end application, and you can, basically subscribe your report to your customers accordingly, right? So it can also provide multi-tenancy options in a way where you can integrate your Tableau server with various cloud providers. These days we have Microsoft Azure, AWS, or GCP. These are the major cloud providers out in the market. So you can also have powerful monitoring and management capabilities. You can actually see which report is being viewed, how many times, who has consumed what report. All that good activity. It also provides a monitoring tool onto the Tableau server. So Tableau server, I would say, is an integral part of your Tableau ecosystem. You need to have Tableau desktop. Tableau desktop is definitely mandatory, obviously for development purposes, and you need Tableau server for storing that report, for hosting that report, for basically sharing that report to your customers. Next, we have is Tableau Online. You could think of that Tableau Online is very, very similar to Tableau Server. The only difference that I see between Tableau Server and Tableau Online is Tableau Server is on-prem. On-prem is on-premise, where You have to set up your Tableau server, you have to build the hardware, and you have to actually install the Tableau server on a physical server on your machine, which happens to be within the four walls of the company. Versus Tableau Online is a software as a service. It's nothing but hosted Tableau server, wherein you are actually having a Tableau server running on a particular cloud provider. I mean, that cloud provider obviously is a Tableau cloud provider where you don't have to download and install any software for Tableau server. You don't have to build any hardware capabilities. You don't have to build any server. It's a subscription based model where you can actually just subscribe it. Depending upon your functionality, you'll be charged for it, and you can have all the capabilities of Tableau server with Tableau Online. It is pretty good in context to where you don't have to worry about the maintenance of Tableau server. All the maintenance and patching, upgrading of the Tableau server, which happens to be done manually. If in the case of Tableau server, in online, everything is done by Tableau. All that you have to worry about is just maintaining the front end application of it, just look and feel, managing the portal, but all the maintenance and patching is automatically done by Tableau. So either you would go for Tableau server or Tableau online. Tableau online is hosted Tableau server, as I said, where all your reports will be hosted onto a data center outside the scope of your network, right? So there are some companies which may not be very comfortable in going for Tableau online. Let's say per se, if you are working for a very highly data sensitive companies, like imagine that it's a healthcare, or maybe if you're working for some kind of a national security company, all your reports, if you go for Tableau online, will be published onto Tableau, cloud, which is beyond the scope of your company. So you may feel the security could be a problem. But anyways, it all depends from the choices, depending upon what domain of the company you have what type of data you have, what type of reports you have. Accordingly, you can pick and choose Tableau server or Tableau online. All that, what I say here is Tableau online is exactly same thing as Tableau server. It is just hosted Tableau server, where that Tableau server is hosted onto Tableau cloud, right? It's subscription based model. Next we have is Tableau Prep. So as said, Tableau Prep is a specialized tool. It's a standalone specialized tool provided by Tableau that will help you to perform data shaping. Data shaping is also called data cleansing. It's just a Tableau way of saying data cleansing, where there could be numerous instances where you might have data in your data source which is not good enough for you to create the visuals. You may have a lot of repeating records, you may have dirty maybe nulls, you may have unexpected values or repeating values, you may have all sort of dirty data or anomalous data in the data source coming in from whatever the location. Now that data is not ready to be consumed, right? So here is where you can actually use Tableau Prep, where Tableau Prep can connect to that data. You can create some workflows, data cleansing or data shaping workflows, where that workflow essentially is going to clean that data, is going to transform that data, is going to make that data as per the company standards, right? And then once you are done cleaning that data, then that data now can be used in Tableau desktop for visualization purposes. So that's exactly what is Tableau Prep. There are two components of Tableau Prep. We have Tableau Prep Builder and Tableau Prep Conductor. You're going to be obviously starting with Tableau Prep Builder, where you're going to be creating the workflows. The workflows look something like this. Now, if you have worked in any kind of ETL tool, let it be SSIS or ADF or any ETL tool, you create a workflow there, data flows and workflows. So it's very similar to that. And when you execute that workflow is actually going to transform that data depending upon the steps that you have used. And then you can schedule those workflows with the help of Tableau Prep Conductor. It's for scheduling, monitoring, and managing your workflows in the organization. And once the data is ready, once the data is transformed according to your business requirements, then you can, as I said, you can consume that data in Tableau desktop for your report generation or report creation, right? So this tool is optional, Tableau Prep. If you already have a data that is all good to go, you may not have to use Tableau Prep, right? So Tableau Prep is optional. It all depends on how the quality of your data is at the data source level, right? And accordingly, you might want to use Tableau Prep. All right. So next, well, by the way, these are all the product lines of Tableau. I mean, there are a couple of more Tableau products. We have Tableau Mobile, which can be used for consuming the reports onto. It's like a mobile app that you can download on your phone for consuming the report. Lately, they also have introduced a couple of other light versions of Tableau. Nothing too different, anyways. And we also have bridges that is going to help you to connect to on-prem and cloud data sources. That's more on the technical standpoint, but in summary, yes, we have Tableau Desktop, we have Tableau Server, we have Tableau Online, and Tableau Prep. Four primary products of Tableau. All right then. So moving forward, just wanted to quickly walk through the architecture of Tableau. So if you look at it here, imagine that we are using Tableau Desktop, and there we know that Tableau Desktop can connect to multiple different data sources. Just to give a small list here, could be Netezza, SQL, Oracle, SAP. Literally, it can connect to various different structured, unstructured data sources. So you can connect to these any of these data sources either in the extract connection mode or live connection mode. Extract, if you go for extract connection mode, then the copy of that data is actually stored into a file. That file could be either TD file, stand for Tableau data extract file, or it could be hyper file. So it creates a copy of that data, and that copy of data which is stored into either a TD or hyper file would be then used for creating the visuals in the Tableau desktop. Versus if you connect live, you don't need to create a copy here. The name itself is pretty clear, live, where you are connected live to that particular data source. So as the data in that data source changes, as you do more additions to the data, delete, updates, you have a capability of refreshing your visuals in real time, right? So this is your Tableau desktop where you can connect to these different data sources either in the live or extract connection mode. You can play around with that data. You can, customize the data. You can add more, like calculated columns. You can have various expressions that you want to write as per say what you want to analyze. You can pick and choose the appropriate visual. Let it be bar chart, line chart, area chart, maps. Trust me, there are many visuals that you can pick and choose from the inbox list. If that visuals are not enough, you can import those visuals from the marketplace. As per se, you can actually create those visuals and dashboards, and once you have those reports and dashboard ready, then you can publish those reports and dashboards onto Tableau server, or it could be also Tableau online, depending upon whether you go for on-premise or hosted Tableau server. And as said, once these reports or dashboards are hosted onto Tableau server, just for the sake of example, we are going with Tableau server here. It can be used for applying the security on those dashboards. You can manage those dashboards. You can schedule, refresh it, and you can subscribe it to your consumers, where your consumers can log on to your to your Tableau server and consume those visuals in various different formats, right? Let it be on web applications, let it be embedded, it could be on the mobile devices, or it can just do the mass consumption in a way where you can actually send it as an email to a bunch of your clients or customers in whatever the format they are requesting. So this is the end-to-end life cycle of Tableau. It's an entire ecosystem of Tableau. As said, there is also a tool called Tableau Prep, which might come in between the data sources and Tableau Desktop, which is primarily used for data shaping purposes, depending upon the quality of your data in the data source, right? So yeah, so this is the entire ecosystem of what you could think of if you plan to go for Tableau as your primary data visualization tool. All right then. So being that said, just wanted to quickly run through some of the striking features of Tableau. Why Tableau is one of the best data visualization tool out in the market, right? What has Tableau? What does Tableau has to offer in context to visualization? Well, many features are there. Just to list some of the most important here, we have classic data blending and cross database join applications in Tableau. What it means is Tableau can very well connect to multiple different data sources at the same time. For example, you may have some of the data coming in from SQL Server. You may have some data coming in from Oracle. You may have some portion of data coming in from structured, unstructured files. Let it be on-prem or on cloud. You may connect it to Azure Cloud Data Lake. You may have some data coming in from on-prem file system in Parquet file, in in JSON file format, in Avro, in ORC files, right? Um, doesn't matter, right? You may actually connect your Tableau desktop to as many number of data sources you want to connect to at the same time, and you can actually in the Tableau desktop, in the Tableau ID environment, you can blend that data, you can mix and match that data coming in from different sources, what you want to, you can perform cross database joins, and you can create one enterprise level dashboard out of it, right? It's everything configurable with a click of button. It's a UI based. You don't have to write any complex code or join operations. Literally, most of the visuals that you plan to create in Tableau can be done with just click of a button, where Tableau engine is going to automatically translate your clicks into a backend XML JSON file, and that is going to be used for processing internally. But at a user face level, at a front face level, at a business user level, you don't have there's no much complexity involved. On the top of that, it provides excellent features for doing various type of filters. You can filter the data at the Tableau level, at the source level, at the visual level. You can have context filters. You can group that data in the form of sets and beans. You can create histograms, again all with just click of a button. You can create real-time analysis in a way where you can do stream analytics. As said, if you are connected live to the data source, you may have data feed coming in live, and you can refresh your visuals in live, so your customers can see the data which is being changed. The visuals are rendered in near real time. It is used for collaboration as well. You can have natural language processing support as well for Tableau. The latest version of Tableau are AI powered, meaning you can actually ask a question as I'm talking to Tableau, and Tableau can understand what I'm saying. It will translate my voice to text, and it's gonna get me my visual or my data. Obviously, it could be customized though, but at least at a baseline level, you can get your data by just asking a question to Tableau. As said, you also have an excellent feature of predictive analysis where you can see what might happen in the future, and Tableau is strikingly accurate. I won't say 100%, but very good actually. And at least if you have good amount of data, at least 4 5 6 years of data, it can give you close to accurate prediction of what might happen in the near 6 months, right? Depending upon the trends and logarithmic patterns and all. Also, it has show me option for beginners, in a way where if you are new to Tableau, if you don't know which visuals to pick and choose, show me option is going to help you to decide which visual is good for what type and what volume of data. So it can give you recommendations. Maybe let's go for bar chart, let's go for line chart, or maybe for this, let's go for maps, probably if you have geographical data, right? So that is one of the good feature that I found. I like it very much, for beginner kind of users. And on the top of that, many other features are there. One of them is security. You can have high level of security patterns. You can enforce those security into Tableau at report level, at item level, at data level. And because for most of the companies, security is one of the important aspect of it, right? So yeah, and there are again many other features actually. So you can actually use advanced charting type. Box can be scale plots. You can have pack bubble charts, and most of them, as I said, can be done with just a click of a button, right? Tableau is a bit expensive, to be honest, compared to other visualization tool, but at some point I see the worth of it, because there are many features in Tableau that currently are available only in Tableau, that are still not available in other visualization tools like user stories, right? Which is something which is beyond the scope of a dashboard, right? So dashboard, it's a bird's eye view of a business. So that is something that can be possible only in Tableau at this stage. But yeah, these are some of the striking features that I could think of, right, in Tableau. Now, if you want to compare Tableau with other data visualization tool, here is where Tableau stands out. So as per Gartner Magic Quadrant, these are the known or popular data visualization tool. You could think of that Microsoft Power BI is more popular compared to Tableau, obviously because it comes with its own ecosystem. Microsoft is literally everywhere in all the technologies. Tableau offers only data visualization tool, and Tableau has been acquired by Salesforce. So it's an integral part of Salesforce nowadays. If you look at it, MicroStrategy, TIBCO, Looker, these are challengers but not the leaders. These are the niche players which will eventually be challengers later, and then these are your visionaries, right? So yeah, so if you think of like Tableau is one of the most popular dashboarding tool out in the market, right? All right. So being that said, just wanted to have a quick small demo of how to use Tableau, right? So I have second. All right then. So this is my Tableau desktop. I already installed Tableau desktop, and I'm gonna be creating a small quick visual out of it. So let's assume that this is my Excel file. I'm going to be using this Excel file as my input data source. Now, if you look at this Excel file has a lot of data, right? I'm running a retail company. I'm doing the sales. Every row signifies a sales of my company, which has the order ID, the date when that particular sale happened, the ship date, ship mode, the name of the customer, the segment, country, region, state. There are many fields, including the quantity, discount, and profit, right? So you could think of that every row is my one qualified sale. I have close to about thousands, maybe I would say many records, actually more than 10,000, 12,000 records. Now, by looking at this data, this is my raw data. I, as a business owner or as a business manager or an executive person, I cannot drive any business insights out of that data, right? These are all just texts and facts and figures, right? I don't know how much of sale I did last month, last quarter, last year. How am I doing this year compared to last year, maybe, right? Which product is being sold the most? Which region is getting me the most profit? Where am I losing money? Well, all the data is in front of me right now, but that data is not consumable. I cannot draw any business insights out of it, right? I have all the data with me. I need a tool that would help me to analyze this data, to segregate that data, to classify that data, to aggregate that data, and plot the required data that I want in a visual. So that way I can see it from the business perspective and make appropriate decisions on what should I do next. How do I grow my business, right? And that's where Tableau comes in place. So this is my Tableau desktop, as said. This is the data source page. The first thing that you need to do is to connect to a data source. In our case, it's going to be Excel file. If you look at it, you can connect to multiple different data sources: JSON, Access, PDF, Spatial. You have many more, right? If you go to structured data sources, you have many different connectors that you can connect to, right? Literally many. So you can Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Cloud, Amazon, Google, GCP, you name it, and you have a connector for that, right? In our case, I'm going to connect to Microsoft Excel. So this is my source file, the one that we were just talking about. That's going to act as my data source for Tableau desktop. Now, simple thing, this is where I have to define the data set. Okay, from that Excel file, you have multiple sheets, right? Order is going to signify the orders. People has the information of all the people, right? The head of the people in every region. Returns, these are the products which are being returned. Let's say I'm interested in orders and return, like which orders have been placed, has been, committed, and out of those orders, which orders has been returned, right? Based on that data, I want to create what is the visual. So order is one of my table. Drag and drop here onto the data set rule page, order and returns. So Tableau, yeah, second. So I'm gonna have order and return, right? All right. So Tableau is pretty smart enough to understand how these tables are related to each other. So it automatically defines the relationship. Order ID is equal to order ID, right? Again, we can go too technical. I don't want to get too much technical. We don't have enough time as of now, but that's the joining condition you could think of, based on two different tables. And it defines the relationship automatically. And now, so you can literally drag and drop what are the tables that you want to from what are the data sources that you want to, and you can define the data set rule here. This is your data grid that shows you the sample data coming in from these data sources. You can change the data types if you want to. You can filter it at a level here if you want to. Here you can either go for live or extract connection mode. You can add filters depending upon what data you want. And then once you are good with the data set, you can actually go on to the sheet. This is where you can build a report out of it, right? So this is your design canvas where you can actually build a visual, you can draw the visuals, you can plot your data into visuals. It's a column shelf. This is called your row shelf. This is marks card. There are different attributes to the marks. We have filters card, we have pages. If you look at it, all the columns from the data source, this is our data source, all the columns from the data source, textual columns are represented into dimension pill. This is called dimension pill, which is signified in blue color. All the facts or measures information is signified, is is actually signified into green color. These are called measure pills. Now all that you have to do is just drag and drop whatever the dimension pill and whatever the fact or measure pill into the column and the row shelf as per your requirement, right? So column is going to define your x-axis, rows is going to define your y-axis. Let's say, for example, if I want to analyze the sales of my company based on, let's say, region, right? So all that I'm doing is just, okay, region in the column shelf, region is going to, so column shelf is going to define your x-axis. There are 4 different regions, central, east, southwest, and row is going to define your y-axis. So within a fraction of a second, I can see my visual. Looks like, okay, central, this is my cell, total cell is 500K, east is looks like about 650, 700K, so on and so forth, right? I can further, get into more details. Okay, for every region, I want to find out what is the state for that region, right? Just put the state dimension pill into the column shelf. Your visual is further broken down by state now. So for every region by state, right? So this is what it is. Let's say if you're talking about the West, California sale. So how much of sale has been made in California throughout the whole timeline? Arizona, you can break it down. So it's pretty straightforward, very easy. If you want, you can change the visual. Tomorrow, if you want, let's say line chart, just click on line, you're going to get a line chart. You want some other marks to be used, circle instead of bar, you can go for circle. Shapes, you can pick and choose whatever the shape you want, and you can, with a click of a button. That's what I was saying. It's semantic based. You don't need to be technical. I haven't written any single query here. Everything is UI based. So Tableau engine is going to translate everything that you do here into a backend JSON file. It used to be XML, but nowadays it's JSON file that works around with the data source and renders the visuals into appropriate format, right? If you want, you can change the aggregation level. Right now, by default, it is sum. If you want, you can go for maybe count. Looks like this is a count, like total 500 sales has been done, not in dollar amount, but actually the count. You can customize a tooltip on a hover action. Many customization you can do. You can change the font, you can change the color, you can put down the labels. If I want to show labels, it can actually show the labels, right? And then you can even customize those labels where you want horizontal or vertical, tilted, or whatever it might be in context to your requirements, right? You can also have the data, broken down as per the order date, maybe, right? So for now, this is for every region for each year, right? So I have year-on-year comparison. Let's say for Central in 2018, it was this much of sale. If I wanna jump back to the count, I'm sorry, jump back to the sum in the dollar amount, I have all the data in front of me now. It's all aggregated, summarized data. I can look at it. Okay, in 2018, I made this much of sell in the central region. In 2019, I made this much of sell. Looks like I went down in 2019, right? So why did I go down? So I can further analyze, I can further break down in which segment I went down, why did I go down, so and so forth, and I can answer my own queries, right? And the beauty here is if you want to further drill down that data on a quarterly basis, all that you do is just gonna create a hierarchy here. You click on that plus button, you have 4 quarters in every year. It is further broken down in 4 quarters. If you look at it, these are the 4 quarters for that year in the central region. So the lowest granularity is per quarter now for each year for that region. Now you can further get it down per month for each month of each quarter for that year for that specific region. Month can further be broken down into per day, daily granularity, right? As long as you have the data. So I didn't do anything. It automatically built the natural hierarchy, and with a click of a button, I can drill down, I can slice and dice my visual and get more details out of it, right? And this is the show me option that I was talking about. There are plenty of visuals for me to choose from. If you're not very sure which visual you're gonna pick and choose, this show me option is going to help you to pick and choose the best visual that you want, right? In the same way, you can create a dashboard. You can build a user story. We don't have enough time though, but just to give you the brief functionality, we can create easily, dashboards out of it, and we can have multiple worksheets, multiple reports created. And as said, once you're done building the visual, the next step is to be able to publish your visual onto either Tableau server or Tableau online. I don't have Tableau server right now, neither I have a paid subscription version of Tableau online, but I do have Tableau public site, which is a free version of Tableau online. So I can just go ahead and publish it onto your Tableau server or Tableau online. So I can just say save to Tableau public. Again, this is only for demo. In a realistic scenario, you need to sign into Tableau server or Tableau online, right? When you're working for an organization, for a company. Just for the sake of demo, I'm going to save it to Tableau public. Maybe I can just say Tableau public as it will ask me for the credentials. Okay, so yeah, so right now I'm using the free version, right? It's a trial version. Plus, I'm going to be publishing it onto Tableau public site, which has limited functionalities. It doesn't let me publish it if I'm using live connection though. So I have to go for extract. Again, it is only for demo. Okay. So I'm going to be going for extract connection mode, and then it's going to ask me to store my extract file, which I'm going to be storing it into data source. You can store it anywhere on your machine, right? And then once you go on to the visual, it might take a little time because it's going to create an extract copy. And now if I want to publish it onto my Tableau public site, I can just say save to Tableau public as what? Maybe sample report. That's the name of the report that you are trying to give to this report, right? And you can simply save. It's gonna publish to Tableau public site right now, right? And now if I log on to my Tableau public site, let's say it's published already. So I'm going to go to public.tableau.com, right? As I said, this is the free version of Tableau online. Let me sign in with my credentials. So I'm going to sign in here. All right, so I'm here. I should be able to see my visual. So my profile, well, here is it is, right? So this is the the report that we just created on Tableau desktop that I have successfully published it onto Tableau public site for now. Now, ultimately, that's what is going to happen in a real-time company in the Tableau ecosystem, where whatever the data source you have, just for the sake of demo, we use this Excel file as my data source. It could be literally any data source that you can connect to your Tableau desktop at the data source page. You can play around with that data. You can build a visual. You can customize those visual, and at the end of your build process, you can actually publish it onto Tableau server or Tableau online. Once the publish is successful, you can actually that report gets published onto Tableau server or Tableau online. You can apply some security patterns, and at the end you can subscribe that report to your customers, where your customers can log in and they can consume, they can interact with that visual. Right now I don't have any interactivities, but I can make this visual interactive. I can have filters here at different levels, and the customers can pick and choose those filters, and you know these visuals can be rendered as per say the requirement, right? Now this is extract connection mode. Could also be live. If I live, then as data changes, if I refresh my visual, I could see those changes in my visuals in near real time, right? Again, as said, we don't have much time, but this is the entire life cycle or ecosystem of Tableau desktop and Tableau server, right? Okay, so that's all we have. I have plugged in some of the links for you to go through. I mean, everything is available on tableau.com. If you go on tableau.com, you can see the latest features, latest products. You can also go for certifications. Tableau offers different level of certification. Desktop specialist is the lowest level of certification. Then you can go for associate. Professional is more advanced, right? So you can actually look for the product certifications. And yeah, that's all I have. Like, if you guys have any questions.
All right. Thank you, Swapnil, for the great presentation and your valuable information. Now I request to the audience, please pop in your questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Our instructor, Swapnil, will answer all your questions. Swapnil, let me see if we got any questions.
Sure.
No questions yet. Okay, we will give some more time. Let us know if anyone have any more questions. Meanwhile, Swapnil, I have few questions.
Sure.
All right. What do candidates need to know before learning Tableau? What do you suggest?
Right. So there is no as such prerequisite for anyone to learn Tableau. Tableau is very
Mhm,
easy and straightforward UI-based reporting tool. As said, the only thing that I would say is like you need to just have some analytical background. Maybe
mhm.
any kind of SQL background would help. If not, then if you have worked with any kind of data sources before in general, right? That would help. Otherwise, but you don't have to be a technical person. If you are technical, well and good, you can customize the visuals at a different level. But in general, yeah, as long as you have some analytical background, you should be fine.
All right. Okay. Mhm. So, you just mentioned there are many tools in the market. So, why it is said that Tableau is the best tool in terms of others?
See, I mean, couple of reasons. If you look at the timeline history, Tableau has been out in the market since more than almost 16 years now, right? The first version was launched in 2008. So considering the amount of time that Tableau has been out in the market, it is very matured. It has many advanced features, and it has, the UI is very intuitive. Like, as what we just did, it's very easy to use. All the features are well classified into the UI, and it supports a lot of data sources. One of the feature that I really like about Tableau is very fast. Actually, if you're trying to work around with big data analytics workload, where you have literally billions of records into a semi-structured or structured file such as Parquet or maybe Avro or ORC files, JSON XML files. Tableau can crunch the numbers very fast. It works on MPP architecture in the backend with Spark clusters that has multiple nodes. And
Mhm.
lately, Tableau also has been evolved a lot in context to AI features and functionalities. So it's AI powered. Combined all together, Tableau is very advanced. I'm not saying other tools are not at that level, but it's just that Tableau has its own niche feature, right? I mean, it's primarily used for heavy crunching of financial numbers. For financial companies, industries, they usually prefer Tableau because of the performance reasons.
All right. Okay. Mhm. And does Tableau also have any limitations or disadvantages?
Yes, I mean Tableau functionality wise, I don't see many. There are some of the like there are some features that you can't really do with Tableau. You have to work around with it. One of it is donut chart. There is no donut chart predefined available in the toolbox for Tableau. You have to work around with two multiple pie charts laid out on the top of each other. Versus in Power BI, you have an option directly to create a donut chart. Other than that, Tableau is a bit expensive compared to other tools, which
Mhm.
might be the reason why some mid-sized companies or some beginners starter company may not pick Tableau because they are tight on budget.
Mhm.
But other than that, I think it's one of the best tool currently out in the market.
Okay. So, thank you, Swapnil, for answering my questions. Let me have a final check if we received any questions from the audience. Okay, we have a one question. Can you recommend any resources or strategies for beginners learning Tableau? Swapnil?
Right. Very good question. All right. So we have, let me share the thing here. All right. So if you go on Tableau website, you don't have to go anywhere else. Just go on to the Tableau website. Now here you see couple of resources. Again, I would just recommend this only at a very basic level. This is in no way gonna make you expert on Tableau. But if you don't know anything about Tableau, you can just go here. You can go to learn Tableau, and then there are free training videos, right? And these videos are very short videos, by the way. It, as said, just 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It's just gonna get you started on Tableau, right? It will just tell you what are the features of Tableau you have in prep, how to connect to data, just one video, 17 minutes, how to do the mappings, how to create the calculations, so on and so forth, right? So you can start with this, and there are some other um, kind of reading resources that you have, right? Um, you can have webinars, but again, this is all at a baseline level. Because I would say you might want to start from these videos, and obviously you can take a professional training which can help you to get to that level where you can
Mhm.
register for the certifications towards them. But this is the beginning point, I would say, for any person who wants to learn Tableau.
Okay, okay. So we have one more question. What are the privacy or missing data concerns in Tableau, and how does Tableau handle it?
So privacy or missing data concern. So in Tableau you can really create complex security patterns. Okay. Um, when I say security patterns, I mean, if I understand the question correctly, you should be able to subscribe that reports to your customer, and you can apply security at a report level. You can drill down, you can apply the security at an item level, at a data level, at a single column or row level, and that way you can, there is no problem as such with security, right? Now, when it comes to missing data, obviously it all depends on what type of data you have. So Tableau just creates the visual out of what data you feed it, right? So if you have a data that has missing column values, or if you have data that is not correct, if it is not as per say the organizational standard, then obviously you're not going to be creating, you're not going to be able to create accurate visuals or dashboards. So Tableau can give you suggestions. It can prompt you at some level where data is missing, or it can tell you, hey, this is not what it is expected. It also has a validation module built inside of it. So you can validate your report at a Tableau level, and it can give you some considerations of what is correct, what looks not so correct, and you can take those validations and go back to your visual. You can trace back to your data source and see what is missing, and you can correct it and then move forward accordingly, right? But it all depends on what type of data, and how much of volume of data you, and what you're actually trying to achieve out of that visual, right, in Tableau. But yes, it is very well possible.
Mhm. All right. So there are no more questions. I think we are done up with the questions. If anyone have any more questions, you can reach us on the email. We will reach you back with all the details. Thank you, Swapnil. We have done up with the questions. And
All right.
thank you again for your time today. I have a special offer announcement. We are running a special offer on analyzing and virtualizing data using Tableau program, and also on few more courses. This is the industry's ever big discount. It is the premium discount. To know more, you can visit on our website. Me and my team will also send you the email. You can reply us back. If in case you have any friend or colleague looking for the training, you can also suggest them. I have also added my LinkedIn profile and company details. If anyone want to know more, can connect with me directly. So when it comes on upskilling and reskilling, CCS Learning Academy is designed to be your organization's secret weapon. A network of talented and passionate professional instructors are ready and waiting to work directly with you and your team. If you are new to IT or seasoned professional, we offer a wide range of courses for your needs. If you need more information, please contact us. On behalf of CCS and our instructor Swapnil, we would like to thank you for your attention on this important training session. Hope you enjoyed the session. Looking forward to you all for joining our future webinars. Stay safe out there. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.